This page is the front cover of the official Nintendo magazine. Proper retro stuff if you ask me. Big bold Nintendo logo at the top. Can't miss that. It's shouting about being the biggest and the best. Which, well, they certainly thought they were, didn't they? This issue is pushing Jet Force Gemini big time, smack bang in the middle with the headline, Let Force Gemini, claiming it's Rare's best game. Bit of a bold statement considering what else Rare were knocking out at the time, but hey, magazine's gotta hype things up. Looks like there are free Star Wars Episode 1 racer posters. Gotta love a bit of pod racing. They're also teasing Perfect Dark with new info and shots on page 82, and everything you need to know about Donkey Kong 64 on page 74. Standard magazine cover fare really, promising all the latest news, game tests, tips and tricks, all for the princely sum of £2.95. Best value apparently. Those were the days. The next page is a bit of a weird one. It's a full-page advert for Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, but it's styled up to look like a CD case. Right on the cover, it's got Kellogg's Pop-Tarts in big letters and a picture of a strawberry sensation tart. They're calling it a debut album called Love at First Bite. The track listing is pretty funny, all song titles based on Pop-Tarts, like I'll Be Ready in a Moment, Make Me Hot Till I Pop, and remix of I Don't Wanna Get Burned. Again, silly stuff, but I guess it's aimed at kids, playing on the music craze back then. Out now on Kellogg's, it says at the bottom, and catch them while they're hot. Bit cheesy, but it's an advert for sugary snacks at the end of the day. This page is a promotional advertisement for a UK Nintendo 64 magazine, touting itself as the best-selling. It boasts 6 promises: early news, genuine screenshots, accessible content, reliable cheats, and trustworthy writers, claiming it's the only necessary magazine. The page features a photo of the writing team, aiming to create a sense of familiarity with readers. Contact information is provided for reader inquiries and magazine availability, though the latter seems unnecessary given the magazine's self-proclaimed popularity. The page also showcases a cover image of Jet Force Gemini, highlighting other popular N64 titles like Perfect Dark and Donkey Kong 64, essentially reminding readers of the content they'd be missing out on. The page's purpose is solely to promote and sell the magazine. Warrant. This page from a Nintendo official magazine hyped upcoming games. The main feature is Jet Force Gemini, with promises of a first playtest and a focus on action. A game news section lists numerous N64 and Game Boy Color titles, including Armorines, Excitebike 64, Gex 3, Perfect Dark, and South Park games, showcasing the variety available. A panel promotes Player Manager 64, a football management game. The page heavily promotes Donkey Kong 64, directing readers to multiple articles. Overall, it's a typical magazine page, showcasing the flagship game and a quick rundown of other releases. This magazine issue features a variety of content. The reviews section highlights F1 World Grand Prix 2 and other new game reviews, starting on page 22. Readers can enter the Blagfest competition to win Star Wars Lego, Game Boy Colors, and Beetle Adventure racing carts. Game guides offer tips for Castlevania, page 54, and Beetle Adventure Racing, page 62. Additional sections include Charlie Blast's Territory, page 28, Total Test, page 37, covering N64 games, and Official Tips, page 46, and Your Tips, page 50, for Beetle Adventure Racing. Your Scores, page 52, announces the GoldenEye Mega Challenge finalists. There are also cool Star Wars posters and a section on Game Boy Color, page 31, promising the latest games and accessories. This page is showcasing Jet Force Gemini. Looks like a big reveal for a new game coming out in September. They are calling it a big game, so they must be thinking it's going to be something special. It's described as a 3D shoot-'em-up, published by Nintendo themselves. The blurb underneath the main picture says something about evil Mazar terrorizing the galaxy, and the Jet Force Gemini team being our only hope. Sounds like your typical space shooter storyline really. Nothing too groundbreaking there, but hey, we loved those back in the day. It's promising a first full play, and to meet the Force and guide through the galaxy. Typical marketing speak. But it does look visually impressive for the N64. The character design is quite striking, a bit like a futuristic Space Ranger type fella. They are definitely pushing this one as a major title, for the autumn season it seems. This advertisement heavily promotes Jet Force Gemini as a major release for the Nintendo 64. Emblazoned with Jet Force Gemini Big Game at the top, the page emphasizes the game's heroic protagonist, Juno, and a tagline about saving the galaxy from an evil warlord. The ad boasts of a great adventure, calling it one of the biggest and most explosive adventure games on the N64. Key features highlighted include over 150 levels across 13 worlds and various multiplayer modes, including speed challenges, shooting duels, and deathmatch. The ad promises fast-paced, run-and-gun action, suggesting it could be the game of the year, hyping up its September release. This page previews Jet Force Gemini, summarizing the game's story, characters, and controls. The plot revolves around saving the galaxy from the warlord Mizar. Players control 3 heroes: Juno, a versatile character; Vela, who excels underwater; and Lupus, a flying dog. The page introduces Magnus, a character encountered early in the game. Finally, it details the N64 controller layout, explaining button functions for movement, shooting, jumping, crouching, and weapon selection. The overall impression is a straightforward guide to the game's basic elements. This magazine page focuses on Jet Force Gemini, highlighting key gameplay aspects. The primary objective involves rescuing tribals, small bear-like creatures, scattered throughout levels. The article advises against accidentally harming them, as it will impact your progression. The Look for Clues section explains the importance of in-game cutscenes, which provide guidance on solving puzzles and unlocking new areas. It also mentions the need to eliminate all enemies to open certain doors. Finally, a take-a-break segment reveals the inclusion of a Space Invaders minigame within the Goldwood level. This provides a retro distraction from the main gameplay, offering a fun way to take a break from the main mission. Jet Force Gemini features diverse enemies, starting with insect-like ants of various colors, each with unique strengths and behaviors. The story involves Juno rescuing his twin sister, Vela, who has been captured, while also searching for Lupus. The game structure involves 3 distinct paths, each requiring completion of levels for Juno, Vela, and Lupus, before a final confrontation with Mizar. Players will traverse diverse worlds like Sekhmet, a battleship, Cerulean, a sandy planet, and Ica Base, Mizar's base, before reaching Mizar's palace. The adventure may continue beyond the main encounter. Expect planet hopping, enemy blasting, tribal rescuing, and a challenging battle against Mizar. This overview of Jet Force Gemini highlights key game stages. The Juno start introduces players to the conflict on Torfret, a peaceful planet overrun by Mizar's insectoids, and the Cessa Nubis, a spaceship offering ammo. Goldwood, another planet with tribal inhabitants, faces Mizar's threat. The Vela start reveals her levels, including Eschabone's dark caves, Rith Essa's hazardous canyons, and the ominous spawn ship, rumored to be the origin of Mizar's forces. Big and Brutal previews a cargo ship stage overrun by ants and introduces the stag enemy, suggesting Vela's sharpshooting skills will be essential. The page offers a basic yet effective preview of the game's varied levels and challenges. Jet Force Gemini's early gameplay focuses on rescuing Vela from a cell, using a remote control to disable the force field. Beyond combat, puzzles involve manipulating colored platforms, requiring players to utilize discs. The game also features an inventory and character, swapping between Vela and Lupus. You'll start with decent firepower, including a powerful, rapid-fire pistol with infinite ammo. Other early weapons include a machine gun, shurikens that boomerang back, and homing missiles. Additionally, the game features headshots, where successful hits result in enemy decapitation, with rewards tied to collecting enough headshots. Jet Force Gemini features a seek-and-find mechanic with collectibles like health-restoring gems, blue, pink, red, weapon-granting gun chests, health-boosting Gemini holders, ammo, and Mizar tokens. Mizar tokens are used for costume changes to infiltrate areas, allowing players to disguise themselves as enemies like tribals or ants. Successfully fooling enemies allows for stealth, but shooting will blow your cover. The game also highlights weapon features, a charged-up shotgun, a rocket launcher with rotating missiles, and a sniper pistol for accurate long-range shots. With collectibles, disguises, and standard gunplay, the game offers a varied experience. Jet Force Gemini boasts multiplayer modes like Deathmatch, Co-op Story, with one player as Floyd the Droid, Racing, and Target Shooting. The single-player experience is the main focus. The game introduces Floyd, a damaged droid, who you must repair by finding missing parts. Backtracking through levels with new abilities is encouraged to discover secrets, a classic rare design element. The game's narrative kicks off with a dramatic first battle against the antagonist, Mizar, at Mizar's palace. The preview hypes the game as huge, with incredible levels, frantic action and stunning explosions, emphasizing its potential as a defining title for the N64. This site, reminiscent of the late 90s, offers cheats and tips for N64, PlayStation, PC and Game Boy games, a time before instant online access. Cheatmaster presents a selection of classic N64 games, like GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64. The site promotes premium-rate phone services for cheat codes at 60p per minute, a stark contrast to today's free information. Further, it advertises a fax-back service for cheat newsletters at 25p a minute. There's also a competition hotline, costing 60p per minute, to win consoles, games, and even a television. The site highlights the era's methods of providing information, emphasizing the cost and effort gamers went to get ahead in their games. Premier Manager 64, released in September 1999 for the N64, is a football management simulator. The game allows players to manage any English team, aiming to win the Premier League and experience the pressures of the job, including potential dismissal. Gameplay involves selecting lineups, managing finances, and making tactical decisions. The game features screenshots showcasing basic graphics, team selection screens with familiar player names from the era, and financial management aspects. The game emphasizes tactical choices and player motivation, highlighting the "you're the boss" aspect of management. While not groundbreaking, it offered N64 owners a chance to experience a football management sim, focusing on the core elements of the genre. Premier Manager 64, marketed as a big game for the N64, is the focus of this text. The page features screenshots of gameplay, highlighting matches with players like Vieira and Keane, and mentioning a packed stadium for a Bristol Rovers vs Blackpool game. The game offers pick your match for up to 4 players managing English teams, with player aging adding strategic depth. It details 2 main modes: Manager mode, a straightforward league-winning experience, and Career mode, where players start with a Division 3 team and aim to avoid getting sacked, with the potential for promotion to bigger teams. The game's core aim is to let you experience life as a football manager. This guide focuses on navigating the Take Control menu in Premier Manager 64, the heart of team management. It details key options, viewing fixtures, managing transfers, checking results, viewing league tables, handling the squad, and monitoring club finances. The guide also covers crucial aspects, like team training, get in shape, emphasizing skill, rest, and fitness. It advises against overtraining to avoid player fatigue. Finally, the guide highlights the importance of pre-season friendlies, practice games, to refine tactics and prepare the team for the season. The guide aims to give the player a grasp of everything a manager would have to control. Premier Manager 64 dives into the details of football management. First, you handle office duties, such as securing sponsorships, with longer deals yielding more money. Facility upgrades are mentioned, though they are currently labeled adequate. Next, get your squad sorted focuses on selling unwanted players to free up funds. The advice is to transfer list benchwarmers before they depreciate further. Be prepared to replace sold players. Finally, a game of 2 halves gets to the gameplay. You set tactics, long ball is an option, and can watch highlights or the entire match. Substitutions are made from the score screen, a bit clunky. The article features screenshots from the game, showcasing classic 90s graphics and a match between Charlton Athletic and West Ham United. This review of Premier Manager 64 focuses on the in-game action and management aspects. The gameplay is described as intense and potentially nerve-wracking, showcasing improved graphics for its time. A detailed walkthrough of a game demonstrates the unpredictable nature of football, highlighting a West Ham comeback victory. The review then delves into team management, suggesting tactics adjustments, formation changes, and utilizing the transfer market to improve a struggling team. It emphasizes scouting, making offers, and the patience required to wait for transfer replies. The review concludes with a call for reader feedback on the game's excitement level, ultimately summarizing the game as promising, particularly for football management enthusiasts. Quayar. This page is a full-page advert for Sunny Delight. Remember that stuff? Bright orange, tasted kinda fake, but we all necked it back then. It's got these blurred-out women running, looks like they are supposed to be full of energy and that, thanks to the Sunny Did of course. And on you go, it says, with Reach for the Sun underneath the Sunny Delight logo. Bit of a cheesy advert really, but it probably worked at the time. We all bought it, didn't we? This magazine section reviews new N64 games available in the UK. It emphasizes thorough testing by expert Nintendo players and boasts more screenshots than competitors. The scoring system ranges from real rubbish to amazing game you must play, with an awesome award for games scoring over 90%. The reviews highlight two games, Form World Grand Prix 2, which received the Awesome Award, and Charlie Blast's Territory, a puzzle game described as bombastic. The reviews are typical for the time, focusing on gameplay and providing brief descriptions of the games. This page reviews F1 World Grand Prix 2, and blimey, they've given it the Awesome Award, so it must be alright then. It's priced at £39.99, and coming out on July 2nd, apparently. Game Info Box mentions its multiplayer, and works with the Rumble Pack. Fancy that. Case, they reckon it's the sequel to F1 WGP revving on the grid, and all your favourite Formula 1 drivers are in it to thrash round the track. Bit of a cliche, but gets the point across. The main article title is Go for Pole Position, and it talks about living out your Fave 1 dreams. They say if you ever dreamt of racing with the pros, strap yourself in for this super sequel. Apparently, it roars out of the pits and leaves everyone else in the dust. They highlight the two-player mode, and reckon it'll keep Formula 1 fans coming back for more. They bang on about every track and driver being in there, which is fair enough. There are a couple of screenshots, one showing a Ferrari, looking pretty decent for the N64, and another showing the in-game view, bit blocky. But what do you expect? Captions are typical magazine hype, F1 WGP2's coming a chow at over 200 miles per hour, and it's the most realistic driving sim yet. Well, realistic for the N64 maybe, they always say that, don't they? Page number is 23, if anyone's keeping track. F1 World Grand Prix 2 offers a comprehensive racing experience. The game includes a driving test tutorial to help newcomers with tips and track guides, starting in Luxembourg. The Real Thing highlights the official F1 license, featuring all the teams and drivers of the time, mirroring a televised race experience. Choose Your Race provides various modes: Exhibition, Grand Prix, Challenge, and Time Trial, offering diverse gameplay options. The review emphasizes the impressive graphics, claiming unprecedented visual quality for an F1 game on the N64, showcasing detailed tracks and cars. Screenshots feature drivers like Hakkinen, Schumacher, and Coulthard. Overall, the review suggests the game strives for realism and immersion, aiming to be a definitive F1 experience. This review of F1 World Grand Prix 2 highlights several key features. The game offers a tutorial mode to learn tracks. Players can adjust car settings like fuel, tires, and wings during pit stops, impacting handling. It includes 15 scenario-based challenges like speed, tactics, and mechanical challenges, adding variety beyond standard races. Tire selection based on weather conditions, dry versus wet, is crucial. A replay mode lets players watch races from the '98 season with commentary to learn race lines. The one-player mode provides various options including a full season, time trials, and the aforementioned challenges, offering a comprehensive F1 experience. F1 World Grand Prix 2 for N64, a sequel to a fast-paced original, is reviewed. The game, based on the 1997 season, offers improved graphics compared to its predecessor. While not a massive leap, visuals are enhanced. The game includes all drivers and 16 tracks. DO multiplayer is limited to 2 players, described as okay in speed. However, the review praises the single-player experience, highlighting the detailed tracks and overall speed. Despite outdated team data and a limited multiplayer mode, the review calls it a bargain. The final verdict awards a 91% score, labeling it awesome. The review hails it as a racing fan's dream, with great graphics and speed, possibly the best F1 game on the N64. The next page is all about WWF Attitude, and blimey, what a game that was back in the summer of '99. It was everywhere, wasn't it? You couldn't move for Stone Cold Steve Austin on telly, or in the arcades. This page is a full-on advert for the game, showcasing the big lads themselves: Stone Cold, The Undertaker looking all moody, Triple H with his long hair, and The Rock striking a pose. It's a proper testosterone-fueled page, yelling attitude in big white letters, letting you know this isn't your grandma's wrestling game. It was promising to be the game to get, and judging by the release on pretty much every console under the sun, 64, PlayStation, even the Game Boy Color and Dreamcast acclaim were really pushing this one. It's got that classic red arrow with "Get It" on it, just in case you weren't already sold by the sweaty wrestlers and massive WWF logo. Looking back, it was a bit brash, but that was the Attitude Era for you, loud and in your face. Good times, even if the game itself wasn't always a 5-star classic. This page is a review for Charlie Blast's Territory on the N64, and blimey, talk about a blast from the past. It's priced at £34.99, which was a fair whack back then, wasn't it? They're saying it's a proper brain bender of a puzzle game, promising to tie your grey matter in knots, which sounds about right for some of these 964 puzzlers. The review reckons it's another one of those mad puzzle games, where you're bombing islands to bits. Charlie Blast, this king of industry geezer, is setting you the task of linking bombs and TNT to demolish islands before the clock runs out. There's even multiplayer battles mentioned, which could be a laugh with mates. They go into special squares, typical puzzle game stuff really, bits and bobs to spice things up like springy spikes that slow you down if you touch them with your lardy butt, vanishing land, spikes, and moving squares to push TNT crates about. Visually, they're not exactly blown away, saying the levels aren't anything special and the items just do their job, but it's all about the challenge apparently. Fair enough, gameplay is king at the end of the day, isn't it? Looks like a decent enough puzzle game to keep you occupied if you're into that sort of thing, but maybe not one to write home about visually. Let's Get Bombing reviews the gameplay of Charlie Blast's Territory. Players navigate island levels, pushing TNT to link with main bombs for explosions. The review highlights basic mechanics, moving blocks, bouncing Charlie, and initiating chain reactions. A key tip is the undo function, R. Controls are standard N64 fare, 3D stick for movement, A for jump, B for fuse, and C for view. The game features enjoyable music and explosions, with timed bombs adding pressure. While multiplayer is fun, initial controls are considered annoying. The review offers a lukewarm verdict, deeming the game a neat idea but ultimately unexceptional and potentially boring. The final score is 78%, suggesting the game is okay, but not a must-play. This is a nostalgic look at a full-page ad from Gameplay, a mail-order game supplier popular before the internet era. The ad focuses on the Nintendo 64, showcasing console bundles with popular titles like Mario 64, Zelda 64, and GoldenEye. They offer a wide selection of N64 games, including classics and more obscure titles, alongside accessories like memory cards, rumble packs, and steering wheels. The ad also features second-hand games and cool furniture like inflatable chairs. It highlights the typical mail-order promises of the time, such as money-back guarantees and fast delivery. This ad serves as a snapshot of late 90s gaming retail, when ordering games by mail was the norm. This review section focuses on Game Boy Color games, promising honest opinions tested by Nintendo experts. The article highlights several classic titles. These include Frogger, Hollywood Pinball, NBA Jam 99, Pitfall, Shanghai Pockets, Smurf's Nightmare, Super Breakout, and Top Gear Rally. The games are described with enthusiasm, capturing the essence of 90s gaming. Top Gear Rally receives particular attention, with a screenshot showcasing its pixelated racing action. The overall tone is excited about the Game Boy Color's offerings, though the phrase rumbling stuff feels a little exaggerated for the handheld's capabilities. This page is a bit of an advert for something called Rumble on the Game Boy Color. We've got a chap looking rather serious in a blue shirt, overlaid with these blurry orange streaks. Meant to look dynamic, I assume. The tagline is the usual marketing spiel. Get ready to rumble. New wave of games. Feel the force. You know the drill. It's for the Game Boy Color, so it must be something playing on the rumble feature. Remember that? A bit of a gimmick really, but they made a fuss of it at the time. And there it is, page 32 of the official Nintendo magazine. This page focuses on the Game Boy Color's rumble feature, dubbed Shakin' and Quaking. Several new games, like Top Gear Rally, feature built-in rumble, powered by a AAA battery in the cartridge. Top Gear Rally is highlighted as the first rumble game, promising players will feel every move. Pokémon Pinball is also mentioned as a fitting rumble game, leveraging the feature for bumper impacts. For those with older games, the Pulse Pack is advertised as a £9.99 add-on to enable rumble. This black cartridge plugs into the Game Boy Color and enhances gameplay. The page's main message is clear. Embrace the rumble feature, either through new games or the Pulse Pack. This page reviews 4 Game Boy Color games. Shanghai Pocket, a mahjong puzzle game, is praised for its addictive gameplay and scores 80%. Hollywood Pinball, priced the same, is deemed less impressive, with its score of 72% due to its ball movement and might disappoint pinball fans. NBA Jam 99, a basketball game costing £24.99, features a full season and playoffs, earning an 83% despite some control issues. Finally, Frogger, the classic arcade game, is recommended for its pick-up-and-play style and scores 82%. All games include GameLink for multiplayer fun. This overview highlights several Game Boy Color launch titles. Pitfall, a classic platformer, receives an 81% rating. Smurf's Nightmare, a colorful adventure, disappoints with a 68% score. Rumble Race Top Gear Rally is praised as the best racing game, earning a stellar 90% with the Rumble Pack. Centipede, a retro shooter, gets a mediocre 60%, while Super Breakout, a brick-breaking game, scores a slightly better 62%. Overall, the selection is varied, with Rumble Race Top Gear Rally standing out as the must-buy title. The next page is a full-page advert for Star Wars Episode In Racer on the Nintendo 64. Right then, Podracing. This was around the time episode I was hitting cinemas, so naturally, they churned out a game to go with it. It's all about hitting ludicrous speeds, apparently over 600 miles per hour, in these cobbled-together vehicles. The ad shows off some of the pod racers in action, engines blasting, all that jazz. There's a little table of technical data, which is a bit daft for a game advert really, listing things like opponents, 21 plus, and thrills, limitless. It's got the date 4/06/99, so June 99 it must be, around the movie release time. Sponsor is Jabba the Hutt, which is a bit of flavor. It's all set on planet Tatooine, naturally. Nintendo 64 logo is prominent, shouting "Feel everything," which is what they always said. I suppose after seeing that Game Boy Color racing game, Rumble Race Top Gear Rally, get a stonking 90% on the previous page, you'd be hoping this NAN 64 racer would be even better, especially with all that power. The Total Test section, guided by Yoshi, was the core of the magazine. It reviewed all Nintendo games and accessories, updated monthly. It included sections like All New Gear, reviewing controllers and peripherals, Famous 5, which was about toilets, Gen 64 Magic showcasing games like Beetle Adventure Racing, and new games out this month, featuring Duke Nukem and Flying Dragon. Sales and rental charts, along with a scoring system ranging from real rubbish to amazing, were also featured. Games scoring above 90% received the Awesome Award. The Duke Nukem 64 review and a quick flick review of F1 World Grand Prix 2 were highlighted, exemplifying the typical content of a Nintendo magazine. This N64 game review compilation features a mix of hits and misses. High scorers include Beetle Adventure Racing, 91%, Banjo-Kazooie, 96%, and Diddy Kong Racing, 92%, all receiving awesome awards and praised for gameplay and innovation. All-Star Baseball 90%, impressed with its graphics. Other games like Blast Corps 81%, Buck Bumble 84%, and Buster Move 2 and 3 81% and 85%, also received positive reviews. Conversely, All-Star Tennis 70%, Biofreaks 70%, and Bomberman 64 68% received mediocre scores. Aero Fighters Assault 54% and Aero Gauge 41% were heavily criticized. Air Border 69% was deemed pointless. The reviews, reflecting a 90s magazine style, showcased the diverse N64 library. This text reviews various Nintendo 64 accessories and games. The article details several Rumble packs, including the budget-friendly Joytech Jolt pack and the more expensive Shockwave from Datal. Games reviewed include Castlevania, 86%, praised for its atmosphere, and FIFA 99, 90%, for its gameplay. Duke Nukem 0 Hour topped the charts with 92%, while Clay Fighter 63 and a third received a harsh 25%. Other titles like Forsaken and Duke Nukem 64 also scored highly. Reviews criticized games like Chameleon Twist and Cruisin' USA, highlighting issues with gameplay and sound effects. The article reflects a snapshot of N64's diverse library, from acclaimed titles to those that didn't quite meet expectations. This page reviews various N64 steering wheels and games. The wheel options include the budget-friendly Race 64 Compact, the V1 racing wheel for one-handed gaming, the G64 steering wheel, the Interact Vortex wheel, Thrustmaster's Formula Race Pro, the Top Gear wheel, the V3FX racing wheel, the ASC2 wheel, and Mad Catz's N64 wheel. The game reviews offer percentage scores, highlighting titles like the popular GoldenEye 007 94%, Hexen 64 93%, and F-Zero X 92%. Other games reviewed include Fighter's Destiny 85%, ISS 98 50%, Flying Dragon 71%, Holy Magic Century 84%, Gasp 68%, Iggy's Wrecking Balls 83%, ISS 64 84%, Gex 64 78%, Glover 85%, Knife Edge 75%, GT 64 Championship 76%, and Lamborghini 76%. This is a collection of N64 game reviews, reminiscent of a classic magazine. High scorers include Lilat Wars, 90%, praised for its space shooter action, Mortal Kombat 4, 96%, a violent beat-em-up, NFL Blitz, 90%, an arcade-style football game, and Mario Kart 64, 90%, a lauded remake. Other notable games are Micro Machines, V3 87%, Mystical Ninja, 88%, Monaco GP and Madden Football 64, both 86%, and Mario Party, 85%. Some games received less favorable reviews, such as Multi Racing Championship, 80%, Mace the Dark Age, 79%, Mission Impossible, 81%, and Mischief Makers, 74%. MK Mythologies, 36%, and MK Trilogy, 51%, are heavily criticized, with Milo's Astro Lanes receiving a similarly negative score of 52%. Overall, the reviews highlight a diverse range of N64 games, with varying degrees of success. This review covers N64 memory packs and game reviews. Memory packs range in size from 256K to 4 meg, with Joytech offering good value. Nintendo's controller pack is noted for solid quality. Game reviews include Mystical Ninja 280%, NFL Quarterback Club 99 90%, NBA Live 99 80%, LNBA Pro 98 80%, LNBA Hangtime 75%, Off-Road Challenge 68%, NBA Hangtime 75%, Olympic Hockey 98 89%, Penny Racers 68%, NHL Breakaway 98 88%, NHL Pro 99 77%. The games cover a range of genres, with a heavy emphasis on sports titles and some action and racing games. This page reviews N64 controllers and games. The official Nintendo controller, at £19.99, is lauded as the best. Numerous third-party controllers are examined, with varying quality and price points. Some, like the SuperPad, are affordable, while others, such as the Arcade Shark, are more expensive but praised for specific genres. Reviews highlight both strengths and weaknesses of each pad. The page also features game reviews with scores out of 100%. Games like Pilotwings 64, Quake, Robotron 64, and South Park receive positive reviews, while Rush 2 and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer are criticized. Reviews also include details on price, player count, chart position, and peripheral compatibility, offering a comprehensive look at the N64 gaming landscape. This blockbuster page highlights popular N64 rentals, with Rogue Squadron topping the chart. Cool Rentals promotes games awarded Awesome Awards, offering rental fee refunds upon purchase. 64 Magic focuses on Castlevania 64, hyping its Dracula boss fights and cutscenes. The page reviews other titles. Super Mario 64, 92%, is praised as the ultimate platformer. Turok 294%, excels in graphics and action. Other notable scores include Tetrisphere, 83%, Top Gear Overdrive, 85%, Top Gear Rally, 85%, Rally Edition 99, 90%, 1080 Snowboarding, 90%, Silicon Valley, 82%, Snowboard Kids, 81%, Starshot, 75%, Turok, 87%, Twisted Edge, 78%, and Vigilante 8, 83%. The reviews showcase the N64's diverse game library, spanning various genres. Electronics Boutique is offering a £5 voucher for the top 10 64 games: Castlevania, Mario Party, FIFA 99, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Rogue Squadron, Micro Machines 64, South Park 64, Mario Kart 64, Rally Edition 99, and Vigilante 8. The article also reviews other N64 games: WC, W/N, WO Revenge, and WWF Warzone both score 90% for wrestling action. Zelda, Ocarina of Time receives a stellar 97%. Other games reviewed include Wave Race 64 80%, Wipeout 64 87%, Yoshi's Story 88%, and Wii Tricks 88%. Scores range from 63% for War Gods to 90% for World Cup 98, offering a variety of genres and opinions. This N64 tips page provides cheats and strategies for a variety of games. It boasts a team of Nintendo experts, claiming all tips are verified. The content covers diverse titles like Beetle Adventure Racing, Castlevania, FIFA 99, and Mario Party. The page includes a tips service for reader interaction and mentions a competition called Mega Challenge. Specific game tips include a debug mode, cheat for Micro Machines, 64 Turbo, unlocking race wins, and camera controls. Castlevania strategies focus on obtaining medkits and reveal secret battles, including new bosses. Beetle Adventure Racing tips detail unlocking bonus cars by completing championship modes and using the Police Beetle's pull-over function. The page offers a mix of classic and lesser-known games. This page reminisces about classic N64 cheat codes from the pre-internet era. Wipeout 64 had codes for infinite energy, hold Z and L, hammer C buttons, and all weapons. After hitting a hot track, hold Z, L and R, and similarly use C buttons. Vigilante 8 offered God mode and higher res cheats, accessed by typing reversed text. Rampage Universal Tour featured passwords to unlock new characters, requiring players to input random letter combinations. The article highlights the fiddly but fun nature of these old-school cheat codes, providing access to enhanced gameplay experiences in these popular N64 titles. This text provides cheat codes and tips for various N64 games. Highlights include unlocking features in FIFA 99, Rogue Squadron, level unlocks and infinite lives, Mario Party, ending unlock, South Park, master cheat for everything, and Wipeout 64 hidden track. Gex 64 gets a cheat for 99 lives, while F1 WGP unlocks all challenges. The text also details speed-focused cheats for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, all car codes, Penny Racers, mirror required, and Scars, Cobra car code. Lastly, For Zero X offers a complex button combination to unlock everything. A nostalgic Give Us a Call section highlights a time before online resources, offering phone support for gaming problems. This page is a rather bizarre advert for Pot Noodle. Blimey, we've got Keith, clearly in the middle of a serious gaming session if his face is anything to go by, completely engrossed in a pot noodle, chicken and mushroom flavor by the looks of it. Tamara in the background is clearly after something a bit more substantial than instant noodles, and looks about as impressed as you would be if your fella prioritized a quick snack over, well, anything else really. The tagline, Tamara wants him to think long term. All Keith wants is a spanking gorgeous pot noodle, pretty much sums it up. It's a bit of a cheeky ad, playing on the idea that when you're properly engrossed in something, like maybe smashing through Rogue Squadron with infinite lives using those cheats we just saw, even a pot noodle becomes the height of gourmet cuisine. Not exactly highbrow, but definitely hits the spot when you're glued to the console. Reminds you of those late night sessions fueled by anything you could quickly microwave, doesn't it? Good old pot noodle, the choice of champions. Or at least, very dedicated gamers. This article highlights reader tips from a magazine, where contributors could win a transparent controller. The tips cover several Nintendo 64 games. In The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Raoul advises navigating the Lost Woods and utilizing the Song of Storms with Navi's help. For Rally Edition 99, Peter reveals the cheat menu, unlocking cars and tracks with a button combination. Danny offers cheat codes for NFL Quarterback Club 99, including character transformations and infinite turbo. Finally, David provides tips on character creation in WWF Warzone to design a wrestler resembling Whitney Houston. This reader tips page offers game help and encourages reader participation. The Hot Game Help section provides solutions to reader questions. Tips include how to solve puzzles in Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Forest Temple, Flippers, Final Bottle Location, and Link's Awakening, Key in Bottle Grotto. Help is also given for Banjo-Kazooie, cheats, and WWF Warzone, no easy cheat for attribute points, the write-in, and new ways to play. Sections suggest new gameplay ideas, like Zelda archery and GoldenEye multiplayer strategies. Can you help? Features more reader questions, and a quick flick section. This magazine section highlights reader scores across various N64 games. This issue's Fat 4 challenges feature challenges in 1080 snowboarding, highest trick score, Banjo-Kazooie, fastest treasure trove cove completion, Rogue Squadron, best time on Imperial construction yards, and Zelda, Ocarina of Time, race dampe time. Results are provided for F1 World Grand Prix, fastest Monaco time, with Jonathan Wright leading. GoldenEye 007, Bunker has Pauli Matilainen in first. 1080 snowboarding, highest trick score, is topped by Paul Rawlings. Finally, F-Zero-X, Big Blue, sees Richard Dunn in first place. Each game features a top 10 leaderboard, with occasional humorous tags and pictures next to the names. The GoldenEye 007 Mega Challenge is culminating. This page focuses on the grand finale, emphasizing fair play and disallowing cheats. Players are warned against using exploits to falsely inflate their scores. The page announces the upcoming final league, featuring top players who previously qualified by achieving impressive kill rates. A best of the best list reveals the top 10 GoldenEye players, with John Pollard of Dublin leading the pack. Following this, a footy frenzy section teases the next challenge, an N64 football game competition. Finally, instructions on how to enter challenges are provided, including capturing screenshots of scores and submitting them with player details. Prizes like Nintendo accessories were up for grabs. A small advertisement for the Donkey Kong Country cartoon is also included. This guide provides a walkthrough for Castlevania, focusing on platforming and boss battles to conquer the castle and defeat Dracula. It includes guides for both characters, puzzle solutions, and secret item locations. The guide covers specific bosses like Rosa, who uses shockwaves and flaming arrows, and Fernandez, Carrie's vampire relative, who employs a three-way blast and freeze wave. Strategies involve distance, jumping, and long-range attacks. The Tower of Science walkthrough details a frustrating level filled with mutants, machine guns, keys, invisible pathways, and spiked platforms. The guide offers numbered steps with screenshots to navigate the level's challenges, making it the typical difficult Castlevania experience. This Castlevania 64 guide section previews boss encounters. Jewel Towers features a beast battle with challenging platforms and no save crystal. Players should cross a wooden bridge. Avoid energy-draining lost souls. The werewolf boss is faster than before, requiring crucifixes or precise whip timing and dodging. Finally, Dark Cheetah demands quick reactions, advising a whip-dodge whip strategy. The fight culminates in a claustrophobic environment with a dropping ceiling and rotating spikes. Defeating the cheetah leads to further platforming up the tower. This page details boss battles in Castlevania 64, focusing on the Jewel Towers level. Navigating this level is tricky. As Schneider, you can see invisible walkways, adding to the challenge. Players are warned that there is no save crystal until the next level, making progress unforgiving. The first boss is the Aqua Minotaur, a tough encounter for Schneider. He's slow but hits hard, requiring strategic use of weapons and whip attacks during his charging phases while avoiding rotating spikes. Next, the Were-Tiger returns, requiring players to run around him to avoid his grab. The strategy involves changing direction and whipping him from the side. Like other Castlevania bosses, he is slow but his attacks hurt. The lack of save crystals during this level is considered frustrating. Rumakawa. This page carries on with the Castlevania 64 tips. Seems we're still stuck in these towers. First up, it's Tower of Sorcery for Carrie, and it sounds like it's all about platforming. Tickle platforms, they say, and jumps that are unforgiving. Oh great. It's all about timing apparently, and some platforms disappear. Classic N64 platforming fun, eh? You gotta follow a crystal path, and jump on floating platforms to reach a tower. Then, once you're on top, you need to look for purple platforms that disappear. Sounds like a right pain. Eventually you'll get to a green shard and a save crystal, which they hilariously say, relief is too weak a word to use. Yeah, tell me about it. Then over on the right it's Tower of Execution for Schneider, and this one sounds a bit more lethal. Blood-stained scythes, in the title, lovely. Apparently this level punishes you. If you rush, you need to learn the timing of jumps, or you're gonna fall to your death. Nice. There are swinging scythes to avoid, falling blades, and even Medusa heads to whip. You're moving around brick platforms dealing with bats and bone pillars, just the usual Castlevania gauntlet really. Then it's red skeletons, naturally. Apparently, if you want Schneider's extra suit, there's a locked door, and you need to whack iron statues to get a green jewel. Always with the hidden extras, these games. Sounds like another charmingly difficult N64 level, just what we loved back in the day. This page is still stuck in Castlevania 64 territory. This time it's more tips, covering Room of Clocks and Clock Tower. First up, Room of Clocks is for carry only, and it looks like a boss fight with this cackling grey crow called Actrice. Apparently she's a bit of a pushover if you just run around her in circles and charge up your shots into the crystals surrounding her. They reckon it takes a while, but it's an easy win. And good old Renon's contract gets another mention if you're struggling. That dodgy geezer gets everywhere, doesn't he? Save afterwards, naturally. Then it's on to the Clock Tower section, and this sounds like a classic Castlevania platforming nightmare. Crushing cogs and dizzy heights, they've called it. Charming. It's all about finding keys and being patient. Cas, apparently, you're going to fall a lot. They're telling you to whip torches at the start for goodies. Look out for Medusa heads, which are always a pain. And watch out for revolving rusty pipes that will try to knock you off. Loads of gears and bone pillars to jump across in a rusty passage, and then even more gears with fireballs shooting at you. Sounds delightful. They're still banging on about keys to open doors with symbols and saving points, which, let's be honest, you'll be needing in bucket loads by the sound of it. They really aren't kidding about this being a hair-pulling platform level, are they? The Castlevania 64 guide continues with advice for the Clock Tower 2 and Castle Keep areas. Clock Tower 2 presents a challenging platforming sequence involving gears, dodging deadly cogs, and avoiding being crushed. After navigating the tower, players will face Renon, the demon salesman, and can purchase items before the final stretch. Castle Keep features a boss battle against Renon, triggered if the player has spent over 30,000 gold with him. Renon attacks with a flame attack. The guide suggests wearing him down and then retreating. And no. Finally, there's a mini-boss fight with Vincent, the vampire hunter, if the player takes too long to reach Dracula. Vincent employs bloodsuck and unholy water attacks, but is considered not too difficult. Defeating him leads to more stairs and the next area. This guide details the boss fight against Dracula in Castlevania 64. Before entering, save and stock up on healing items. The first battle takes place in his coffin room, where he teleports, and his face is the only target. Schneider players need to jump and whip, while Carry charges attacks, dodge fireballs, double shockwaves, and a bite attack. The second battle involves a lift and a cutscene. Dracula is back with a new face, but easier. Carry charges attacks at the red target and use R to target when he teleports. The third battle features a dragon form. Avoid fireballs and get close for the earthquake attack. Use all available weapons, keep moving, and jump to avoid attacks. Upon victory you get the ending. This page is all about All-Star Tennis 99. Remember that one? It was on the N64, PlayStation, and even the Game Boy Color. Stretching it a bit on the old Game Boy Color if you ask me. Anyway, they're really pushing this one big smash idea, and going on about top players, tons of different shots. Right then, they've got pictures of some of the big tennis stars of the time, like Richard Krajicek, Amanda Coetzer, and that Bjorkman fella. Jana Novotna's there too, and a few more to make up their all-star cast of 8 top players. Apparently it's got stunningly realistic gameplay, and amazing 3D rendered courts. Well, everything was stunningly realistic back then, wasn't it? Ha! It also boasts multiplayer, for up to 4 players, which was always a good selling point for the N64 days. They're even slapping an 89% score from N64 Pro magazine on it and saying, All-Star Tennis is an absolute blast. Bit strong, perhaps, but someone liked it, I suppose. And look, there's some guff about a competition with the Lawn Tennis Association. Always something to get the parents interested, eh? Overall, it's a pretty standard games advert from the time, trying to make tennis look like the next big thing on the consoles. This magazine page reviews a guide for the N64 game Beetle Adventure Racing. Part 1 of the guide promises to reveal all the game's secrets, including hidden routes, flower box locations, and shortcuts across all tracks like Coventry Cove, Mount Mayhem, and Inferno Isle. The guide covers topics like shortcuts, nitrous locations, and crate crashing for points. Smashing crates earns points that lead to continues and unlock multiplayer arenas. Screenshots illustrate gameplay tips, including using shortcuts, breaking crates, avoiding overtaking, and getting a cheat for winning. Finding flower boxes unlocks multiplayer secrets. Overall, it's a comprehensive guide for the game, with more content promised in future issues. This guide focuses on Coventry Cove, the first track in Beetle Adventure Racing. It reveals shortcuts and hidden areas, including down the back street, train tunnel, in the hay, and In the Cave. The guide highlights locations for bonus points and nitros, along with more adventurous sections like the Castle Ramp, Inside the Castle, Jump the Water, and Ancient Mine. Additionally, it details the location of 3 hidden flower boxes, A, B, and C, which unlock cheat codes. Box A grants the Beetle Battle radar, Box B enables single race handicap, and Box C unlocks Beetle Battle mode. The guide promises similar coverage for other tracks, like Mount Mayhem and Inferno Isle, in future installments. This guide focuses on conquering Mount Mayhem in Beetle Adventure Racing. The track, known for being slippery, has several secret routes for extra points. Section 1, smash through a glass alley for points. Section 2, handbrake into a garage for points and nitro. Section 3, drive off a broken bridge into a tunnel for points. Section 4, smash through ice on a frozen lake. Section 5, spin into a cave and take the right fork for points and nitro. Section 6, go straight into a tunnel on the dirt track for points and nitro. It also included a flower box locations. Box A is in town for Beetle Battle Health. Box B is in the upper cave for single race track music. Box C is near the dirt road for single race color change. These hidden areas and cheat codes were typical features of racing game guides of the era. This guide details shortcuts and bonus point locations for Inferno Isle in Beetle Adventure Racing. The guide highlights 9 areas. Players can find points in the muddy track house and, at the end, the village tunnel and ledge, and the mean back streets. Other locations include the docks with jumps, the volcanoes inside and outside paths, the beach, the seaside cave with a nitro, and the castle. Additionally, it describes locations of hidden flower boxes to unlock cheats. Box A is in the swamp house for alter bug speed. Box B is in the burning house for Beetle Battle time limit. Box C, from the third jump in town, unlocks single race view mode. A preview hints at future tips for Sunset Sands to the Wicker Woods in the next issue. This text describes an N64 game shop experience from the past. The shop sold the N64 console and bundles with popular games like Mario 64 and GoldenEye. It promoted Star Wars Racer and WWF Attitude with special offers, and highlighted other titles with discounted prices. They offered a game exchange program and a wide selection of N64 games, including UK and US imports, with prices for both new and used copies. Accessories included steering wheels, rumble packs, even glow-in-the-dark ones, memory cards, and various controllers. They also sold sticker kits, a Game Boy booster, carry cases, and player's guides. The text provides a nostalgic look at the retail experience for N64 gamers. This retro advertisement showcases mail-order collectibles from the pre-internet era. Action figures dominate, featuring characters from popular games like Mario Kart, Zelda, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3, Quake, Crash Bandicoot, and Star Wars Episode 1. Licensed Nintendo products include beanies and plush Yoshis. Oddly, Sacker gear such as walkie-talkies and clock radios are also offered. The Game Boy Color section highlights the console itself, along with a Game Boy Pocket camera and printer, reflecting the era's technological fascination. The page concludes with numerous Game Boy accessories and games, plus themed watches and keyrings. The advertisement emphasizes the simplicity of ordering with a mail-in form, a stark contrast to today's online shopping experience. The Club Mario Letters page features reader opinions and responses from Dave and Tim. Discussions include praise for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, comparisons to F-Zero X, and anticipation for the Phantom Menace film. Readers debate the merits of Resident Evil on 64, and a Who's the Hero quiz. Other topics include a question about football management games on 64, and a reader's complaint about expensive game packaging. One letter expresses disappointment with Game Boy Color titles, anticipating Conker's Pocket Tales. Dressed for Success highlights a reader, David Felton, who won a prize for dressing as Link. Finally, a brain strain quiz tests knowledge of various N64 games, including Star Wars Episode 1 Racer and Shadowgate 64. Club Mario features quizzes and reader mail. Name That Game presents picture and riddle clues, with answers like Lego Racers, but some are obscure. Hidden Heroes scrambles screenshots, with guesses including Banjo-Kazooie and Star Fox 64. One reader created Head Taj, a mashup of Diddy Kong Racing, Bowser, and Zelda characters. The Mario mailbag includes reader opinions, disappointment over Game Boy Color coverage, a query about game tester demographics, a Pokemon enthusiast, F1 game comparisons, and a lament regarding Zelda, Ocarina of Time's popularity over GoldenEye. Additionally, a Who's the Hero quiz clue, Belmont Clan, points to Castlevania. In the U-Review section, Ben Diggins reviews WCW/NWO Revenge, praising its cathartic gameplay and calling the graphics cartoony but overall good, giving it a 90%. The reader chart put Zelda at number 1. The Who's the Hero quiz continues with a Castlevania clue. Reader letters discuss a range of topics. Players rave about Rare's N64 games, Mario Party's minigames, and the anticipation for a golf game. Others discuss the 64D's non-release in the UK, the expectations for Duke Nukem, 0 Hour, and 40 Winks. The article features excitement for Perfect Dark and price complaints about the Game Boy Color. Finally, the Power Pack section reviews the Nintendo Memory Pack, advising the use of the bigger packs for better game-saving reliability. 4 gamers Davinder, Mayun, Bayo and Ben share their experiences with Castlevania 64. Davinder prefers Reinhardt, but found easy mode restrictive after 9 hours, 81% complete. Mayun, playing as Carrie, is at 95% after 10 hours, citing the Clock Tower's difficulty. Bayo, with 14 hours played, 92% complete, is enjoying the Tower of Execution's gore. Ben, at 90% after 10 hours, praises the graphics but criticizes the camera angles, enjoying the castle center level. They'll revisit the game next month to see if Dracula is defeated. The Who's the Hero quiz features a whip-wielding character. Reader letters criticize Turok's high review score, while others debate its merits and the superiority of Zelda. A reader asks about Tonic Trouble's release. Finally, news of a bargain 64 expansion pack from Joytech and a contest to win Castlevania are mentioned, alongside a random picture of a dog in a suit. This page features reader submissions, including fan art depicting Pokémon with guns, Mario confronting a Goomba, Link battling Twin Rover, N64 characters in a South Park style, and a Zelda character lineup. Readers also share opinions. Dan and Tim want more N64 controller ports, while Robert is pleased with N64 versions of older games. Dave criticizes the N64 game boxes, and Daniel wants improved packaging. Mario's hit list invites questions about Star Wars Racer, Game Boy Color add-ons, and Pokémon's popularity. The answers section confirms Dracula from Castlevania as the quiz answer. Finally, a staff list reveals the editors and writers. The page concludes with subscription information and legal details. Giyu. The next page is shouting about giveaways. Blimey, Blagfest they're calling it. Cheeky sods. Looks like Nintendo's got a bunch of Star Wars Lego to flog off, probably leftovers from the Phantom Menace hype. They're asking about Darth Vader's real name. Come on, everyone knows it's Anakin Skywalker, unless you've been living under a rock since '77. Then there's some Beetle Adventure racing competition, which was a bit of a surprise hit on the N64, wasn't it? A decent racer with proper Beetles in it, a bit of a laugh actually. Question is about the first track. They're giving options like Coventry Cove, Cambridge Cove, or Cardiff Cove. Can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I'm leaning towards Coventry Cove. And then there's Mini Madness for Game Boy Color. They're giving away consoles and games like WWF Attitude and Bust-A-Move 4, which were alright for handhelds, I suppose. The question for this one is about Bust-A-Move 4, asking what you burst. Bubbles, oranges, or footballs? Easy peasy, it's bubbles obviously. Gorintby. Looks like to enter any of these compos you have to send a postcard with your details and mark it with Lego Compo or Color Compo, depending on which one you're going for, and post it off to their London address. Simple enough for a bit of free stuff, I guess. Right, best get marking up some postcards then. This page is all about the latest Nintendo news, and blimey, it's dominated by Donkey Kong 64, no surprise there really. It kicks off with an E3 blast saying they were at the Electronic Entertainment Expo in America, showing off all the Nintendo games they played. Right then, on to the main event, Donkey Kong 64. Apparently, Rare are the brains behind this one, a 3D adventure game due out in December 1999. Big claims being made here. Best Nintendo 64 graphics ever seen, New Kong Heroes, and massive worlds. It's being hyped as the biggest Nintendo adventure since Zelda, and they're comparing it to Banjo-Kazooie and the old SNES Donkey Kong games. Sounds like they're cramming it full of high-speed action, puzzles, and even a multiplayer deathmatch mode with funky gibbons knocking each other out. Sounds a bit daft if I'm honest. Apparently the worlds are interactive too. You can lift rocks and climb trees. Groundbreaking stuff for $99. On the right there's just a list of other N64 games, probably ones they've reviewed or are previewing in this issue. Games like Armoridine's Project, Swarm, Dragon Sword, Excitebike, Gex 3, Hot Wheels, Mini Racers, Monster Truck Madness, Perfect Dark, Quake 2, Shadow Man, South Park Games, StarCraft, Super Mario Adventure, Taz Express, Top Gear Rally 2, Toy Story 2 and Wild Waters. Fair few decent titles in there, I suppose, but let's be honest, everyone's looking at Donkey Kong 64, aren't they? This page is a full-page image, looks like a Donkey Kong 64 advert if you ask me. It's got Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong front and center, looking ready for action. They're surrounded by all sorts of jungle creatures, some of those Kremling blokes, and what look like those pig things with wings, and even a giant bee, all looking a bit menacing. In the background you can see some snow-capped mountains, and lush jungle. It's all very colourful, and cartoony, typical Rare style. Down at the bottom in small print it says, Donkey and Diddy are swinging to a Nintendo 64 near you. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Bit cheesy, but that's marketing for you. Definitely pushing the Donkey Kong 64 game hard, as expected after all the hype from the news page. It's a pretty eye-catching image, does a good job of showing off the game's jungle setting and characters, even if it's all a bit much, visually. Donkey Kong 64, dubbed Monkey Magic, features Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, joined by Tiny, Lanky and Chunky Kong. Players must utilize all 5 Kongs to navigate 8 worlds, revisiting levels to uncover new content. Donkey Kong is the strong starter, Diddy is agile, Tiny glides, Lanky has long arms, and Chunky is the powerhouse. The game controls resemble Banjo-Kazooie, with standard jumps, attacks, and stomps. Donkey Kong even has a shockwave attack. Chimpy Challenges highlights the minigames, including racing through tunnels, fruit-based Kremling shooting, minecart levels, remote-controlled racing, and melon smashing. The game appears to offer a diverse range of gameplay experiences. Official Nintendo magazine hyped Donkey Kong 64, emphasizing its reliance on the included expansion pack for enhanced performance and visuals. The magazine also highlighted Kirby 64, a 3D adventure game, and the surprising news of Mario Artist's release on N64 cartridge, bypassing the failed 64DD. Disney was heavily featured, with Rare developing 2 Mickey Mouse games, and Ubisoft working on 3 other Disney titles, including one starring Donald Duck. For retro gamers, Capcom was bringing Ghosts and Goblins to the Game Boy Color. The magazine praised Donkey Kong 64's graphics and challenges, suggesting it surpasses Banjo-Kazooie. Finally, they gave a brief plug for Rare's Jet Force Gemini. Taz Express, a 3D action puzzle game developed by Infogrames, was set to release on the N64 in November 1999. The game follows Taz as he takes a job at Taz Express, delivering packages across his home island. His delivery routes are fraught with hazards. Gameplay involves platforming and puzzle solving. Players will use tools like dynamite to create paths and navigate environments like hot platforms and a spooky house with black holes. The game includes chase sequences with Wile E. Coyote, and levels featuring Marvin the Martian, where Taz shrinks and grows. The game features 5 levels, each with multiple stages, including a Mars level where Taz battles Marvin's minions. The reviewer considers the game fun and colorful, with challenging puzzles. While not a blockbuster, the game promises light-hearted puzzle fun. The N64 is gearing up for a diverse lineup. Our Marines, Project Swarm from Acclaim aims for Starship Troopers fans, with Space Marines battling alien bugs in a 3D blaster, potentially rivaling Turok 2 with its co-op mode. Mini Racers from Nintendo offers a 4-player RC car party game. In fast news, Nuclear Strike promises vehicle-based action and a generic terrorist plot, while Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling offers realistic bowling. Pokémon continues its reign, with Pokémon Stadium 2 and Pinball dominating charts. Adam's Family Pinball is also in development with the potential for retro game inclusions. Finally, Resident Evil 2 on the N64 boasts enhanced visuals, faster loading, hidden costumes, a scrapbook minigame, and a randomizer feature, aiming to surpass the PlayStation version. This double-page ad from the 90s is a nostalgic trip. The left side promotes a competition with tech prizes like a mini-disc player, Game Boy, and an N64 console, requiring calls to a premium rate number. The right side advertises New Age Consoles, a shop boasting a wide selection of games and hardware for N64, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. N64 game listings include classics like Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Mario Party, and F-Zero X. The shop also offered import games and a selection of used titles, with the ad cleverly including a cross-promotion for the official Nintendo magazine. This article previews 2 upcoming games. First, Sprocket, a quirky platform puzzler for the N64, developed by Sucker Punch, later known for Sly Cooper and Infamous. Set in a space amusement park, the armless robot Sprocket must stop the villain Jojo. The game features a tractor beam, world painting, a roller coaster track creator, and a controversial minigame. The magazine is highly anticipating Sprocket's Christmas 1999 release, possibly as a top N64 title. The article also briefly mentions Super Mario Adventure, likely Super Mario RPG, for the SNES. It features familiar enemies, 2D characters in 3D environments, and battles similar to the original. The article suggests that Sprocket is being more heavily promoted. Perfect Dark, hyped as a GoldenEye successor, promises to be a Bond beater with impressive multiplayer and cutscenes. Developed by Rare, the 3D shooter was slated for a December 1999 release. The game, described as the unofficial sequel to GoldenEye, features tense mission levels with added extras, including 3 difficulty settings and 13 missions, or possibly 22 levels across 13 missions. Players can explore diverse environments, like Tokyo, Chicago skyscrapers, and an alien crash site. The game boasts character interaction, including dramatic scenes with the protagonist, Joanna Dark, and features enhanced graphics via the expansion pack. Perfect Dark story, set in 2023, revolves around a distress call and a sinister corporation, Datadyne. The developers touted quality movies, with speech, showcasing detailed spaceship animations, further enhancing the game's cinematic experience. Perfect Dark, a weapon of warfest, promises a vast arsenal of 40 weapons, including the wall-penetrating Farsight rifle. Multiplayer aims to surpass GoldenEye, boasting face scanning with the Game Boy camera and the introduction of simulants, AI allies. Levels are redesigned with destructible environments and include returning maps like Temple and Complex. The C button offers a lock-on feature for easier targeting in chaotic matches. The preview boldly predicts Perfect Dark will be the best shooter of the century, confident in its single-player and multiplayer offerings. Get ready, N64 and Game Boy Color owners, for a wave of new games in '99. South Park Rally, a kart racer starring the South Park crew, promises comedic action and potentially swearing characters. Chef's Love Shack is also on the cards, a party game with Chef. Other upcoming titles include European PGA Golf and an X-Men beat-em-up for the N64. The tragic inclusion of Owen Hart in WWF Attitude is noted. For Game Boy Color, expect a deluge of titles from THQ, Toy Story 2, Micro Machines, Yoda Stories, Rugrats Time Travel, and a host of sports games like FIFA and NHL. Godzilla will also be stomping onto the handheld in Godzilla the Series. This mail-order advertisement from Virtual Reality showcases games and accessories for Nintendo 64 and Game Boy. A Star Wars Episode 1 bundle, including the game controller and expansion pack, is offered for £119.99. A wide selection of N64 games, from classics like Zelda and GoldenEye to wrestling titles, are priced between £14.98 and £39.99. Accessories such as memory cards and rumble packs are also available. Deals on standalone games like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer and Superman 64, with free memory packs, are priced at £34.98. The Game Boy Color console is listed for £59.99, alongside a pick-and-mix selection of Game Boy games, mainly under £20. Various Game Boy Color games and accessories are also advertised. An order form is included for mail-in purchases, with a £2.95 postage and packing charge. Dragon Sword, a 3D fighting game for the N64 by Interactive Studios, was slated for a late 1999 release. The game promised a typical fantasy setting, heroes Kai-Lan and Cutter, battling an evil god, Xyrus, who seeks to enslave the land of Avantar. Gameplay involved button-mashing combat with punches, kicks, and special moves, along with collectible but temporary armor. Screenshots reveal chunky monsters, and the heroes engaged in combat. Visually, the game appeared rough even for its time. The game's late release date suggests a final attempt to capitalize on the N64's remaining lifespan, aiming for a fun, if not particularly innovative, beat-em-up experience. This page is all about Dragon Sword on the N64. Looks like a bit of a brawler, eh? The dynamic duo headline shouts about the two-player characters, Kailan and Cutter. Seems you can pick between these two heroes, each with their own moves. They reckon it's like Golden Axe, which is fair enough, classic arcade beat-em-up vibe they're going for. Apparently you can team up in co-op to fight beasts on the same screen or have 4-player deathmatches in fearsome deathmatch arenas. Sounds a bit much, doesn't it? Fearsome. They're really laying it on thick. There are captions saying Kailan is some battlelord of Avantaria, and Cutter is a blue-haired warrior exiled from somewhere called Darrc. The screenshots show the fellas whacking these chunky green monster blokes. One bit mentions collecting magic icons to cast spells, and another shows Cutter using some fire attack. Looks like standard button mashing action with combos and special moves. Davry. The We Think box at the bottom is pretty confident. Nothing quite like Dragon Sword on the Nintendo. Bit strong, isn't it? They reckon fighting fans will love it. Alright, settle down lads, it's just another N64 fighter. But fair play. The Dragon Sword locations look well cool, they say. And I must admit, the backgrounds in the screenshots do look decent enough for the time. Ace Adventure Next-ish, they're plugging it as. We'll see about that. This page showcases Top Gear Rally 2, another N64 title. Moving away from the brawling of Dragon Sword, Kemco are the developers. It's a 3D racer slated for late 1999. They reckon it's even cooler than the original Top Gear Rally, which they admit is still a decent game. Tornaba. Apparently, this sequel packs in 15 real cars, including the likes of Lancias and Renault Alpines. A bit more upmarket than your average motor. Good news is they've upped the player count to 4 for this one. The original was only 2-player head-to-head. And supposedly, once you've done all the proper tracks, it chucks out random ones to keep you going. Wicked racing graphics and random tracks are the big selling points apparently. Looking at the screenshots you can see they're pushing the weather effects, mud and whatnot. One caption boasts about gorgeous effects, like skid marks and mud splatter. Another mentions hair-raising mountain roads and getting filthy sliding in the mud. Sounds messy. Then there's a Tracks of Terror section, highlighting jungle, desert and snow tracks. Jungle's hard to see in, desert has dust clouds, and snow's icy apparently. Standard stuff really. Finally, the We Think box says they still play the original Top Gear Rally at the office and are looking forward to this sequel. Amazing off-roading sequel, they're calling it. Bit strong, but alright, we'll see. Stay tuned for updates, they say. Always do. Summer 1999 will bring Quake 2 to the N64, promising gory action and multiplayer modes, with new levels and enemies. WCW Mayhem, EA's wrestling game featuring familiar faces and modes, is also expected. Game Boy Color owners can look forward to titles like Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest, Bionic Commando, and Crystallis, which echoes Link's Awakening DX. Battle Tanks 2, Global Assault will bring tank combat to the N64, with a global setting and 4-player support. Pokémon is popular, with Blockbuster partnering with Nintendo for promotions. Space Invaders is set for an N64 remake with over 200 levels. Finally, Hot Wheels, a driving game with stunt tracks and stunts, is in the works. This page talks about Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. Coming from Crave Entertainment, it's a 3D adventure-type game slated for release late 1999. They reckon the first Gex on the N64 was a bit rubbish but are suggesting this one will be much better. Apparently Gex has to rescue Agent Extra, who's played by Marlys Andrade, who they are calling a Baywatch babe. Bit cheesy. There are 24 massive levels in Pirate, Snow, and Western worlds. Gex can change into bonus characters, Rex and Cuz, and even heroes like Sherlock Holmes and Hercules. Bit of an odd bunch. He's got new moves and high kicking attacks. The graphics are much improved, and it's still got the karate chop, baddie bashing action, pirate and ice levels. Typical Nintendo stuff. They are hoping platform fans will be impressed with this one. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. Kidder. Then there's Excitebike 64, bringing back the NES classic in 3D. It's a dirt track racer, where you steer a motorbike over big jumps and ramps. Mountain, stadium, stunt and desert modes are in there, and up to 4 players can race in tournaments. There's also a track editor to make your own crazy courses. They're asking if you can handle the massive jumps. Of course we can. Graphics are sharp, and it seems like it'll use the expansion pack for extra graphical grunts. Sounds decent enough. Nintendo's next-generation console, code-named Dolphin, later revealed as the GameCube, was announced at E3. Partnering with IBM and Panasonic, Nintendo aimed for a late 2000 release, promising superior power compared to the PlayStation 2. Details are scarce, but it's rumored to replace cartridges with DVDs, offering larger game sizes and potentially DVD movie playback and internet capabilities. Nintendo also hopes for affordability. The announcement also highlighted continued support for the N64, with upcoming titles like DK64 and Perfect Dark. An advertisement for Premier Manager 64, a football management game endorsed by Kevin Keegan, was also included. This advertisement is a throwback to the late 90s, reminiscent of prize-buster competitions. It offers various prizes through premium-rate phone calls. Top-tier prizes include personal stereos, computers, and watches. Specific game prizes are highlighted, such as the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, and Sega Dreamcast, along with a Game Boy Color bundle. Star Wars merchandise, linked to the release of Episode 1, is also included, with games like Star Wars Racer and Rogue Squadron. Instant win games like Grab-A-Game and Alien Wipeout offered a chance to win items like TVS, stereos, and even a pool table. The advertisement's fine print cautioned about the high call costs, up to £3. The overall impression is a time capsule of late 90s consumerism, filled with a random mix of prizes and marketing hype. This week's news features several upcoming N64 games. Wild Waters offers whitewater canoe racing with impressive graphics. Mortal Kombat Special Forces is a prequel with RPG elements, featuring Sonya and Jax with unconventional weapons. Spy Hunter makes a return with spy cars and gadgets, and Knockout Kings 2000 promises boxing action with a slugfest mode. Test Drive Rally brings rally racing with diverse tracks. Toy Story 2 offers a platformer experience. Finally, Turok 2, Rage Wars is teased as a multiplayer deathmatch game. Shadow Man, a gory voodoo action-adventure for the N64, promises a darker experience than typical Nintendo fare. Developed by Acclaim and slated for summer 1999, the game centers around Mike Leroy, who becomes the Shadow Man to prevent the dead from invading our world from Deadside. The story involves a voodoo sorceress, Mama Nettie, and a demonic legion residing in an asylum. Shadow Man must traverse two sinister worlds, battling weird monsters. He'll encounter characters like Jaunty, who assists him with clues. Jaunty appears as an Irish human in the real world, and as a giant voodoo snake in Deadside. The article suggests the game will feature cool graphics and challenging puzzles, aiming to provide a thrilling experience. It hints at the developers pushing the boundaries of what's expected on the N64. N64 fans get a glimpse of upcoming titles. Earthworm Jim returns in a new platformer, with a promising screenshot. International Rally Championship, a racing game, offers 9 courses and 4-player action. Spider-Man swings into action, featuring classic villains like Venom and Dr. Octopus. Metal Gear Solid on N64 is officially denied by Konami. Monster Truck Madness from Rockstar Games promises explosive racing with weapons and multiplayer mayhem. StarCraft, a strategy game featuring Terrans, Protoss and Zerg, aims to deliver a console-friendly experience. Finally, Top Gear Overdrive returns as Top Gear Hyperbike, with dirt bike racing, stunts, crashes, and utilizes the N64 expansion pack. This page is teasing what's coming up next month in the magazine. It's all very bold and shouting about being the biggest and best and all that marketing spiel. They're making 6 promises, which are your typical magazine guarantees. First, with news, best shots, easy to use, tips and cheats, trustworthy writers, and that classic only magazine you'll ever need line. Bit cheeky, that last one. There's a big red tag saying go buy it the 19th of July, so that's the release date for the next issue. They're hyping up Revolt, that radio-controlled car racer, remember that one? They're promising features on every Ickle racer, teeny tracks, all the power-ups and how to win. Sounds like they're going all in on that game. Below that, they've got smaller boxes mentioning updated Harrier 2001, probably about that Harrier fighter jet game with new shots and info, and Perfect Dark getting all the latest news, which is probably more snippets on Rare's new spy shooter. Always eagerly awaited that one. Then they've got reviewed Superman, talking about comic book capers and Total Test, promising everything Nintendo covered. So looks like a packed issue next month, covering all the bases. Oh, and there's a picture of a toy car. Might be related to the Revolt feature. It has Might on the wing. Right at the bottom it says Plus. Game Guide's Best Chi, likely hinting at game guides and cheat codes inside. Standard mag fare back then. This page focuses on Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, promising a comprehensive guide covering gameplay, weapons, levels, and characters. The article acknowledges the game's popularity at the time. Alongside the Turok 2 content, The page includes a tips section showcasing screenshots and tips for other games. These games include Shuri, Beetle Adventure Racing, and Episode 1 Racer. The article also mentions coverage of the Game Boy Color, with reviews of portable games. Finally, it briefly mentions a special offers Club Mario, likely a mail-order service. The page aims to be a general gaming resource, not just focused on N64. This double-page spread from the late 90s is a nostalgic shopping list for Nintendo gear, primarily promoting their mail-order service, Planet Nintendo. Pokémon toys, featuring Pikachu and Mew, are listed at £12.99. The Ants video and Mario Kart toys, Bowser, Mario, Yoshi, are also advertised. For the N64, Monaco Grand Prix, 86% score, and Star Wars Episode I Racer are priced at £44.99 and £49.99 respectively. Other items include Star Wars figures, Top Gear Rally for Game Boy Color, and a 2-speed Mario Kart toy. LEGO fans can grab a Star Wars Landspeeder, and Mario Kart keyrings are available. GoldenEye trading cards, ideal for swapping with friends, round out the selection. The selection highlights major franchises of the era. This page from a special reserve discount club mail-order catalog showcases N64 and Game Boy Color offerings. The N64 section highlights Nintendo 64 extras, like memory cards, and features popular games such as GoldenEye, Star Wars, Racer, Mario Kart 64, Zelda and others, with bundled deals and £10 off promotions. The Game Boy Color side features the handheld itself, available in purple, and games like Bugs Bunny, Zelda, and Tetris Deluxe. Accessories like Game Boy cameras are also advertised. The bottom of the page advertises the Discount Club for £6.99, offering magazines and cheats. To entice sign-ups, free gifts like goodie bags, controllers, memory cards, and even inflatable armchairs are being thrown in, all aimed to capture the attention of gamers hungry for the latest releases. This was the pre-internet era's way of delivering gaming goods. Gee. This page is a full-on advert for Quake 2 on the Nintendo 64. Blimey, talk about making an impression. They've gone for the shock factor, haven't they? A massive slab of raw meat, looks like a butcher's gone mad, with the Quake logo slapped right on it and the tagline, now in raw form. Bit much, even for Quake, but I suppose it gets your attention. The text is all about how it's for N64, brains, guts, your soul, really laying it on thick about how intense it's meant to be. They're boasting about new levels, saying it's got all the PC version's bells and whistles like special effects, plus proper deathmatch and customizable controls. Save game options they mention like it's some groundbreaking feature shows you what we were putting up with back then. They're really pushing the hardcore angle, saying it's too intense for most players. Cheeky. Down at the bottom you've got the Activision and Telltale Software logos, so you know it's the real deal. And yeah, the screenshots on the side are definitely Quake 2, those strong enemies and familiar corridors. It was a big deal getting proper PC shooters like Quake onto consoles back then. They were trying to convince us N64 could do the serious stuff too, not just Mario and Zelda. Bit of a statement piece, this advert really.